Year after year, Bowser has made attempts to kidnap Princess Peach and put an end to those pesky plumbers, but he never succeeded. He underwent clever ideas and deceptive alliances, but in the end, always wallowed in defeat. Many of these ideas were rich with ingenious calculations, but one that always stood out from the crowd was the Koopalings. You know, those 7 mischievous twats that Bowser left to rot from 1994 to 2003, only to be shelved for another 6 years into 2009. For some reason, Bowser must have had one too many Koopa Delights the day he decommissioned them, because these 7 formidable foes have quite possibly the most saturated amount of character development out of all his subordinates. But what exactly are those traits? Why do they all possess such unique designs? Why were they given such names? What are the blueprints behind their design and development? By using the knowledge that is scattered widespread around different documents all over the internet, and by single-handedly playing these games individually, I will find the character development, I will find the sources of inspiration, and I will answer one question. Who are the Koopalings? The Koopalings made their debut in Super Mario Bros. 3 back in 1988, where they were introduced as the end-world bosses for each of the 7 territories throughout the game. The name Koopalings is likely a combination of the name Koopa with the diminutive suffix ling, which is often used to denote younger, smaller, or inferior versions of the foe name, which aptly describes their relation to Bowser. Similarly, their original Japanese name, Kokoopa, is essentially Little Koopa. The first of the bunch is Larry, who is actually the one with the most ordinary design. Larry was named after the drummer of Irish rock band U2, Larry Mullen Jr. He is also recorded as the youngest of the 7 Koopalings. And out of all the people who the Koopalings were named after, Larry Mullen Jr. is the youngest, being born on October 31st of 1961. As previously mentioned, Larry has the most standard design out of all the Koopalings, his only identifiable trait being his blue hair. And unlike the other 6 humans the Koopalings were named after, Larry Mullen Jr. is not the frontman, just the drummer. Nothing about him stands out in performance, being completely overshadowed by Bono. Morton Koopa Jr. is the largest of the Koopalings, and the only one to have dark skin. He is named after singer, songwriter, and talk show host Morton Downey Jr. Also in physical appearance, his star-shaped tattoo on his left eye resembles Kiss guitarist Paul Stanley's makeup. Wendy O. Koopa is the only female out of the 7 Koopalings. She was named after the controversial punk rock singer from the band The Plasmatics, Wendy O. Williams. Wendy has been registered as tomboyish, bossy, and big-headed, but at the same time showing no shame in revealing her feminine side, in the likes of wearing a large pink bow and pumps. This may be a reference to the fact that Wendy O. Williams was infamous for her non-feminine and downright controversial stage antics like chainsawing guitars and combusting equipment, all while appearing scantily clad in public concerts, showing off her double X chromosome beauty. And after she is defeated in Super Mario World, the description mentions that Wendy is in fact a singer. Okay, how about we now take a look at the demented prankster of the group, Iggy Koopa. He was named after lead singer and frontman of the punk rock band The Stooges, Iggy Pop. Iggy Koopa is known for his hyperactive and unpredictable personality and antics, this being perfectly shown in Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. There, in the pre-battle scenario against him, he will spin around rapidly, making the Mario Brothers dizzy. While in the state of giddiness, the controls are completely altered around with a completely random change in the control scheme, and that change is always unpredictable. This is a strong reflection on Iggy Pop's on-stage performances, where he was well known for his outrageous and unpredictable stage antics. Some examples of this are... Okay. What is he doing? That's pretty nice.
That's peanut butter.
Who throws peanut butter to the crowd? And was he smearing it all over himself? Okay, the Iggy's are definitely similar, since they both prove to have minds so out of touch with common sense. Interesting thing to point out is that Iggy's hairstyle changed from a multicolored mohawk to a green palm tree-like do in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. This might have been done to make him look more distinct from Lemmy, since they both had practically the same hairstyle. How about we move to a more stable Koopaling? Roy Koopa, the manly, shade-wearing muscles of the bunch. Roy Koopa was named after rock and roll legend and Hall of Famer Roy Orbison. Orbison was famous for his dark, emotional ballads and more sensitive approach to rock and roll. While Roy Koopa is depicted as a bully character who prefers bronze over brain, Japanese promotional material and the Super Mario Bros. 3 manual depicted him as calm and collected with a cool character. Similar to Orbison's style, Roy Orbison was vastly emotional with his singing. To quote Stephen Thompson, Roy Orbison didn't just sing beautifully, he sang brokenheartedly, implying that he showed no fear in fully expressing himself. While not concrete proof, Roy Koopa wears pink sunglasses and his upper face is of the same color. This might be a reference to the saying, "real men wear pink," which may imply that Roy does not fear expressing his true self. And of course, we have the most obvious reference. Roy Koopa wears thick, horn-rimmed sunglasses like Roy Orbison. From cool and brute, we move on to childish and circus balls. Lemmy Koopa. This is a tough one, since he and the person who he is named after have practically no similarities. He was named after Lemmy Kilmister, founder and frontman of heavy metal band Motorhead. Lemmy Koopa is known for depicting very childish and innocent traits. He also has the nickname Clown Prince of Koopas, which is both a more in-depth description and emphasis to his immature nature and a homage to the Joker, who is also known as the Clown Prince of Crime. Now Lemmy Kilmister is on the exact opposite side of the spectrum, being the head of a heavy metal band and garnering both friendly mutton chops and a gravely voice. So the similarities here are non-existent. And lastly, we come to Ludwig von Koopa. He has quite possibly the most obvious similarities to his namesake, which is of course legendary classical and romantic era composer Ludwig van Beethoven. The number of similarities between the two is staggering. First, we have the resemblance in appearance. Ludwig von Koopa has a hairdo very reminiscent of that of Beethoven's. Same with his constant disrespectful expressions, which truly reflected many of Beethoven's paintings, in which he depicted a severe lack of manners. But that is not only for show, since Ludwig von Koopa has been documented as being pompous, and multiple documents have shown that Beethoven was a rude, arrogant man himself. Ludwig has also been labeled as the eldest of the Koopalings. And in comparison to the other namesakes, Beethoven was born over a century before the others in 1770. In Super Mario World, after defeating him in Castle 4, it states that Ludwig composes Koopa symphonies. An obvious nod to our deaf man here. Who would have ever guessed that some of the developers over at Nintendo were such music fans? Sure, the Big N Corporation has composers, but the fact that all 7 Koopalings were inspired by different music legends from various music styles and different eras truly shows that some developers like to get creative with their characters. This wraps up this Blueprints episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more, check out my episode on the Masked Swordsman Meta Knight on the left and the Titans of Xenoblade Bionis and Mechonis on the right. If you are not interested, then sorry, I got nothing else.